that foundation, we set it up in 2004, and the goal of the foundation is really to be a sort of platform for experimental and research work on typography, specifically on Arabic typography. And it is a Dutch-based foundation, and so our aim is also to kind of create exchange between Dutch designers and Arab designers, and to bring some of the wealth and experience of Dutch design when it comes to typography to the Arab world and vice versa, because Arabic typography for the past few years has been kind of not developing. Went through a period of stagnation, and then now it's kind of picking up. So it was a good moment to start this foundation. The typographic matchmaking in the city is a kind of sequel to a project we started before, which was to create bilingual font families where you have Latin script and Arabic script that are harmonious. So the typographic matchmaking in the city is a sequel of that, and the idea was to create lettering systems, fonts, typefaces that are both Latin and Arabic, and that are really designed to be used in architecture, in three-dimensional space, as three-dimensional experience, taking also materials and the visual culture in the urban culture into consideration, visual urban culture. I think that the trend is to really create multi-script fonts. So it's not just Arabic and Latin, but it's also Arabic, Latin, Chinese, Greek, Cyrillic, as many languages as possible. In the Arab world, it's always visual culture, and the streets are always bilingual because people are bilingual by upbringing in some ways, and depending on what part of the Arab world the second language changes. What is interesting is that in the Arab world, the trend is to create a harmony between the two scripts, because we're always using them together in design, and there's more experimental freedom in how we use the Arabic script. What is happening on the other side, which is developments in Arabic, in type design actually in Europe, is that you have a lot of also European designers that are getting interested in the Arabic script or in other languages, and they start to develop also typefaces for that. And their approach is very different. It tends to be more conservative, maybe less. It has less freedom because they're not very familiar with the script and what is possible to do with it. And I think that with the projects that we do, it's a way of showing that it's also possible to play a little bit more, to explore things in a more freer way with Arabic, because the script is very flexible, and you can really do things with it that you cannot do with the Latin script. It's not as conventionally dogmatic in its structure and its formal qualities. There is a designer that actually lives in Dubai. Her name is Lara Aswad. I've worked with her a few times on different projects, and one of them was she was also part of the beginning of the typographic matchmaking. But the reason I mention her is because she's mostly a graphic designer, and she does typography. And when she does type design, it's more from a very playful, holistic approach, and not so technical on details, although she's very detailed and cares about the detail, but it's not very craft oriented. It's more conceptual in some ways. So her latest work, she's been developed a typeface especially for children books, and it's really fantastic. It's a really playful way of constructing letters, so it teaches kids how to play with letters rather than to read them. My favorite to draw would be the letter H, the most varied in shape, and it's very playful. It has the Arabic script. Normally you have four different variations for a letter, and this one is the 4 different variations look completely different, which I think is a nice letter, so it's a bit of a schizophrenic letter. But it's very complex. It's like a pretzel. It's very naughty. You can play with it a bit. So that is my favorite letter to look at and to draw.